Hello, good people of YouTube. Mountbatten here. And today we are answering a question that was asked on a video that I posted a few days ago. And that video was the Coal Commander Buying Guide. And somebody asked, well, what about a Research Bureau Ships Buying Guide? And, well, quite simply put, unless you are a player who has grinded out just about everything else in the game, there's no real need to touch the Research Bureau unless you're going for one ship. And that is a ship you're seeing on screen right now, which is the Tier 10 American Battleship, the Ohio. I say that because the Research Bureau ships, for the most part, they're cool. They have a lot of unique gimmicks about them, but none of them are really useful in anything other than random battles, which is fine, because many players may just go their entire Warships career playing random battles. But the thing about Research Bureau ships is that they are quite expensive to get. Not monetarily, but time-wise. You will be spending quite a lot of time getting your Research Bureau ships unless you go for the Mega Whale route, which I absolutely do not encourage. Because if you do want to outright convert XP over to Research Bureau points, it will cost you roughly $300 to $400 per ship, depending upon what ship it is. And ask me how I know. I've done it 5 times. So, the only ship that I think somebody who hasn't already grinded through most of the ships in the game and hasn't acquired most of the premium ships in the game needs to focus on is the Ohio. The Ohio, except for maybe the Vampire 2, that ship just came out and it's very good, but with the exception of the Vampire 2, all the other ships in the Research Bureau are, like I said, only really good for random battle shenanigans. They might be useful in an event here or there. But the Ohio is great in random battles. It's great in clan battles. It's great in ranked. It's great in everything. The other competition, if you don't know, is Slava, the Siegfried, like I already mentioned, the Vampire 2, and the Paulo Emilio. Now, the Paulo Emilio is a fantastically fun ship, but it's so specialized at just being a torpedo delivery system that's all it's good for. It can maybe win a gunfight against the DD if the other DD's being extremely inattentive and doesn't notice the Paulo Emilio smoking up on it, but besides that, it's not that great. The Siegfried, most accurate 15-inch guns in the game, still a very good ship, but in clan battles and other competitive modes, not so much. The armor isn't really there. It's a very large target, so it's very high up in the waterline. It's not like the other super cruisers that has very, very good armor. Don't get me wrong, the Siegfried does have actually some pretty good armor on its belt, but its nose is 25 millimeters with no icebreaker bow or anything like that, and it's a very big target too, and it does only have 6 guns. Yes, they are 15-inch guns, yes, they are very accurate, but still only 6 guns. When in competitive, it's kind of more the merrier. Slava, 9 16-inch guns with Soviet bias, AP, and accuracy, and with that right now, Slava's very accurate, but it can only really punish ships that show it broadside. So for random battles, sure, it's great for that, but again, in like competitive, no one in competitive, once you get higher up in your ranking, is really going to sit broadside onto you and let you shoot at them, especially since you're in a Slava. Plus, it has a 25 millimeter bow, way less armor all the way around than the Kremlin that it's based off of, and again 16-inch guns, which means at tier 10, when anything's angled to you, good luck doing damage then. The Vampire 2, very good DD hunter, very good cap contester, might be worth it, but it is a DD and has a very, very, very high skill floor, which the Ohio doesn't really have. So, that's my reasoning right there for saying if you're going to do a Research Bureau ship and you don't already have most of the other ships in the game, go for the Ohio. Now, if you don't know, in order to get Research Bureau ships, what you have to do is regrind lines. Once you get 5 tier 10 ships, you will then be introduced to the Research Bureau, where you can select a line, hit reset on it, and that line goes back to its tier 1 counterpart. From there, you have to regrind back up the line, and along the way, once you get to the Tier 6 ships, you will then be able to, I'm sorry, I believe the Tier 5 ships, you will then be able to earn Research Bureau points on those ships. And you normally get around, depending upon the line, 5 or 6 times out of these ships before you have enough Research Bureau points in order to exchange those points for the new ship. And again, this takes quite some time. If you're good at grinding, you can do it in a week or so. If you're good at grinding and have the time to commit to it, most average players would probably take about a month or so if they're just doing this. And once you do that, you can get your shiny new ship, then go into battle with it. So, a lot of time you have to invest in this process, and they do give out the Research Bureau points here and there during some events, like the current Dockyard event. If you buy stages of the Dockyard event, you can go back around, regrind those stages, and get... Oh, no, sorry, not this Dockyard event. I think it was the last one. The Hisn Dockyard event was where they were giving away the Research Bureau points. Now it's coal and steel. My bad. But anyway, you guys get the gist. You can pick these Research Bureau points up here and there, but at the end of the day, you're still going to be spending quite some time grinding lines. So why is the Ohio worth it? Well, the Ohio is quite simply take Montana, rip its 12 16-inch guns off, put 4 457mm 18-inch guns on it, give it the Massachusetts cooldown time on her damage con, and it gets the improved American Battleship Hill. To where you get, I'm sorry, not the damage con, the improved cooldown time on the hill, my bad. So you get the improved American Hill on the Massachusetts cooldown time. You get the American damage con, which is already very good. It's active for 20 seconds, one of the longest damage cons in the game. And you get 8 18-inch guns. Now, why are these 8 18-inch guns so good? Well, they, of course, fire American Battleship AP, which hurts quite a bit. They don't travel at the insane velocities that the Russians and French Battleship AP, or even the Germans Battleship AP, travel at. So they're a bit slow, which means that when you're shooting at cruisers, they tend to overpin less. And these are 18-inch guns that overpin less on cruisers. Now, don't get me wrong, you're still going to overpin cruisers, of course. But whereas if you were using something like the Kremlin, you probably would have got an overpin. If you use something like the Ohio, you get a pin. And that is very good. And on top, too, they are, of course, 18-inch guns. So they hurt. They do a maximum damage of almost 16,000 per shell. Well, that is, of course, if you Citadel with it. And you get 8 of them. In turrets that, with the build that I have on my Montana, rotate in 25 seconds. So you have 18-inch guns flying around with a 25-second 180 time, which is ridiculous. On top of that, too, you get great secondaries. These secondaries can get out to a little over 11 kilometers. They used to be quite accurate. They aren't that accurate anymore, but they still have a very quick reload time of 2.4 seconds. So that kind of makes up for the lack of accuracy, but again, they still aren't accurate as they used to be, but they're still definitely good enough to deal with cruisers and destroyers. But they also have a 9% chance of starting a fire per shell. So that's very good. And you get 20 of these. 10 guns per side, 9% chance of starting a fire. You're going to be doing a fair bit of damage in fires, and that's why I say it's not really worth IFHE on the American battleships, because their secondaries have such a high chance of starting a fire, and they have such a low reload time too. So that way, they're kind of like flamethrowers. On top of that too, the AA is pretty good. Again, AA nowadays, it really does depend upon the skill level of the carrier that you're facing, but with the Ohio, you have a healthy amount of it, and if they do goof up, they will pay for it quite severely. She's not that fast, though. She tops out just under 30 knots, so she's not like the GK that can potentially run some ships down, but you can still definitely get close in with her and do some damage. So you have all of that in one ship. And this ship, I can tell you from having to fight against it in clan battles quite a lot, packs a punch. This ship just dumps on cruisers if they're not watching what they're doing. Now, the accuracy of the main battery guns, if you go with a main battery build on it, it's actually quite good. And plus, too, they have a 27-second reload time base. 27 seconds! And that's with my build on it, where I don't have the reload module on, because I have the reload module in the secondaries, because I play the ship mostly in randoms for the secondary memes. So you can put a secondary build, a main battery gun build on here and get that reload time down even lower. So yeah, now it does only have a 20-kilometer maximum range. That is something to keep in mind, because by tier 10 standards, that's a little short. But you can, of course, equip the spotter plane, and that solves that problem there too. So overall, the Ohio, it's a blast to play in randoms. It's really fun to play. I normally have pretty good games in it. The game you're watching right now doesn't really showcase the damage dealing side. I've done plenty of those videos on the channel before, but the survivability of the Ohio, I get in a pretty bad situation here, but because of the fast cooldown time on that heal, and of course, the American heal, that helps me survive the situation. And the, well, my build too doesn't even have the, whatever discount superintendent is called now, and I only have 4 heals instead of the 5. The Ohio is one of those few battleships where I do, on often an occasion, burn through almost all of the heals, or all the heals in one session. But she's a fantastic ship, and if you're only going to get one Research Bureau ship, I would highly recommend getting the Ohio. She's very much worth the grind, and she's one of the first Research Bureau ships to be introduced into the game, so we don't really know how much longer she's going to be around. Of course, they haven't even talked about removing her just yet, so she's probably going to be around for, I would bet, probably another year or so. But if you're looking for a Research Bureau ship to start grinding, I highly recommend you guys do that with the Ohio. Anyway, guys, hope you guys enjoyed today's video. If you did, make sure to drop a like, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're on our way now to 25,000 subs. We just passed 24,500 a few days ago, and I cannot thank you guys enough for that. Hope you're all having a wonderful Wednesday, and hope to catch you guys in the next one.